haze across America. The haze that's blowing has a dirty little secret. When smoke gets in your eyes, you need to protect your lungs. You need to protect yourself. All right? This is coming from Off the Grid News. This is important information. This is Canada on fire. This is done on purpose. This is apparently a land grab. There's also food, like farms that are being burnt up that they're not talking about on the fake news legacy media. That's right, farms, pork in particular, pigs, but vegetation, animals, and this is done on purpose. This is not some organic wildfire that's blowing into the United States. All right? So let's start from the top. Off the Grid News. All right, by author of this article, Bill, I might butcher his last, Hyde, H-E-I-D. This is what he has to say. He says his dad turned him on to the Platters, which was a musical group decades ago. When he was a kid, his dad said, listen to this musical group, the Platters. So the song Smoke Gets in Your Eyes from the Platters is on Bill's mind, the author of this article. This whole fire that's in Canada, that's blowing into the United States, reminds me of that Platters song. So the author of this article, Bill Hyde, he says, he's thinking about this song that his father played when he was a kid, When Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by the Platters. He says, the lead singer, Tony Williams, has one of the most incredible voices in musical history. The song and their music are legendary, he says, but when it comes to an actual fire, like this one in Canada, he says, when this smoke gets in your eyes, it's really time for concern. Step outside this week if you're anywhere from Chicago to Minneapolis, Detroit to New York, just like a country song. Detroit, from New York to LA, from Detroit to New York, from Chicago to Minneapolis, and you'll see the smoke. You'll know it before you even put your boots on. The sky's gone a dirty yellow brown. That's right. They said the sky is a dirty yellow brown. And don't forget, they're spraying chemtrails on top of all this. Boy, oh boy, they really got it in for us, don't they? The sun hangs like a dull orange coal, and there's a thickness in the air that doesn't feel like weather. It isn't fog. It isn't the usual city grime. That's wildfire, or maybe not so wild, orchestrated fire. That's what you're encountering when you're up in those parts of the country. Orchestrated fire. It's not organic, and it's made a long, ugly journey down from Canada to settle right over your land. That's right. The beast system said, as Faker and Fiction would say. So let's recap this so far. Let's summarize this so far. You have this article from Off the Grid News. You have this author of this article, Bill Hyde. He says when he was young, he was a kid, his dad said, hey, listen to this hip group called the Platters. Listen to this really nifty song called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. Listen to the lead singer sing it, Tony Williams. And this Bill Hyde, he never forgot that song. You make memories. You're very impressionable when you're a kid, and there's a lot of things you don't forget, right? You're very, very impressionable when you're a child. And so when you got dad saying, listen to this group, listen to this song, he names it and everything like that, it sticks in your mind. So this whole event in Canada reminds him of that song. But here's where he says, that's just a song when smoke gets in your eyes. When we see this shit going on, he says, warning, Will Robinson, we have cause for concern. This is orchestrated, okay? When the sun simulator, or that giant white floodlight that used to be golden, is a dull orange coal color, when there's thickness in the air that doesn't feel like the actual weather, it isn't just fog, it isn't the usual city grime that you're experiencing. It isn't you walking behind the city like public transit bus. Because I remember that living in New York City up till I was 11 years old. I remember it was so congested. You walk behind vehicles and it's common when you go across the street to smell the exhaust. It was normal. That was normal. This isn't what they're experiencing. They're experiencing all that normal stuff plus this orchestrated, chemical-laden fire that's going into the United States. I don't understand how the smoke can actually travel thousands of miles. It's strange, but maybe not strange. I'm not a smoke expert. So half the country's under a smoke blanket, and this is done on purpose. This is a land grab. This is about corridors, us not being able to go into certain areas of our own country. Agenda 2030, they have maps of where they want us and don't want us. This is about smart cities. This is about destroying our food, our way of life. I love how they just talk about they care so much about. I saw it just tonight. I saw a video of a guy. He went fishing, right, and whatever fish he was catching wasn't supposed to be any more than a foot, 16 inches long. 16 inches. If you caught a fish and kept a fish over 16 inches, and the popos found out, you would get arrested. He got arrested because his fish was 16 and a half inches long. This is America. This is America. They care because they care so much about the fish, right? But yet they're destroying everything, putting data centers up everywhere, taking up a lot of water, sending out low frequencies, disturbing people's sleep, disturbing their circadian rhythm. They disturb everything. This is what they're about. This is what these elite pieces of shit are about. They're about destroying things. They're about burning things up. They're about getting their agenda across. All right? And they don't want us here. They're Georgia Guidestoning the world. They're taking longer than they wanted to take because a lot of us have sounded the alarm. But they're doing it. They're going for it, is what they're doing. This isn't a campfire smoke. It's a chemical stew. And wildfire smoke is a mixture of water vapor, carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, and what scientists call PM 2.5, fine particles that are roughly 1/20th the width of a single human hair. That's how small these particles are, of this orchestrated fire, I should say. So fine, these particles, that they're 1/20th the strand of your hair. That's how small they are. All right? So let's put all this into homestead terms. These particles are so small in this fire, this orchestrated fire, that they go right past your nose hairs, because your nose hairs act as a filter. They go past your body's built-in filters, and they lodge deep into the soft tissue of your lungs like invisible splinters. Let that sink in. This right there that you're experiencing, if you're in this neck of the woods, up there in Northeast and upper Midwest and near the Canadian border, you're experiencing this stuff, this shit is sticking in your lungs like splinters. Let that sink in. They're like invisible splinters is what they are. And woe to those that are breathing in the chemtrails. Woe to those that are breathing in the chemtrails and are smokers and breathing in this shit. Or are working in jobs like factories where you're exposed to chemicals and you're breathing that shit. Your demise is going to come sooner than later. But this is what they want, right? These particles in this fire that's orchestrated, that's done on purpose, they're small enough to cross into your bloodstream and travel to your heart. It travels to your brain and other organs. It's bad enough that they coerced the sheeple into taking the Convid 1984 shot, right? Death shot, clot shot. It's bad enough that they're contaminating our food. Ultra-processed food. They're feeding us garbage, chemicals in the food, chemicals and chemtrails in the air. They're hitting us with frequencies with your Wi-Fi, your router, right? Your cell phones, these death towers that are everywhere. They're spraying us like bugs. They're polluting our water. But they said, oh, we still got more for you. This is what the B system is saying to us. We got more for you. We got wildfires that we started, the B system is saying. We're calling them wildfires, but it's actual fires that the B system started. And we're putting it with such poison there. And it's so small that it goes right into your lungs like splinters. It goes past your nose hairs that God gave you to act as filters for all the bullshit that might be in the environment. It goes past that. It lodges into your organs, they said. They're laughing at us as they have the fake news legacy media say, oh, well, this is just a wildfire. And maybe they're blaming it on the climate change, the news, fake news. They're not going to tell you the truth. They have the news as the mouthpiece for the New World Order. And if the news steps out of line, well, the New World Order has a way of dealing with it. Some news sources come close to planting seeds of the truth, but in the end, they're not going to give you the full Monty. And the full Monty is they did this shit on purpose, just like they do everything else on purpose. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's facts.com and truth.edu, and we're sick of it. Tony Todd, he's past sick of it. We all are. We all are. in your bloodstream, going into your organs, just like the vaccines, the damage that's done. And what's hitchhiking on all this soot that should be really make you stand up straight. What's hitchhiking on this soot? The soot of the orchestrated fire. Well, you have elevated levels of trace metals. You have lead and copper among them in this smoke-impacted air. Near one campfire monitoring station, lead levels spiked more than 40 times above normal. The EPA itself confirms that smoke from fires in near developed areas contains other chemicals, mostly trace metals, that are harmful to human health. Well, where is this trace metal? Where is it coming from? Is it meshing with the chemtrails? All this heavy metals they put in the chemtrails? And here's the piece most Americans have never heard about Canada's fires. Decades of mining across Canada's boreal forest and peat land. That's right, decades of mining across Canada's boreal forest and peatland regions left the ground seeded with contamination, arsenic, lead, mercury, deposited back when nobody worried much about clean air rules. When fire burns through those old industrial zones and peatlands, those buried toxins wake the fook up, and they come right back up and ride the smoke plume into your neck of the woods if you're experiencing the effects of this orchestrated Canadian fire, this New World Order fire. You have arsenic, lead, and mercury, this byproduct of the mining of Canada's boreal forest and peatland. This stuff is embedded in the dirt. When you get fires, the hellfire wakes this shit up, and it leaps onto the plume smoke, and it travels to where you are. Okay? This is what's happening. The California warning that should have been heeded. When California's Eaton and Palisades fires tore through neighborhoods packed with lead paint, wildfires in California, remember them? In Eaton, California, in Palisades, California. When they tore through neighborhoods packed with lead paint, old wiring, car batteries, and electronics in 2025, independent soil testing afterward found arsenic, lead, and mercury exceeding safety thresholds. They know what they're doing. They're gonna send these fires burning through where there's things like batteries, lead paint, in homes, old wires and things like that, and all that shit's just a toxic concoction that when the fire runs roughshod through these neighborhoods, it goes up in the air, and oh man, they know exactly what they're doing. So what is this smoke doing inside your body? Can you imagine cardiorespiratory repercussions? Well, I mean, what do you think is going to happen when you breathe this in, among everything else that they're doing, and it's including the chemtrails? What do you think is going to happen as you eat your chemical-laden fake food? What do you think is going to happen as you're waiting for back to your regularly scheduled program? What do you think is going to happen? It's amazing that most of us have made it this far, that humanity's made it this far, right? The health picture on wildfire smoke, or orchestrated fire smoke, we should call it. What's the health picture look like, or ill health look like for orchestrated fire smoke? Research shows that a modest increase in fire-specific fine particles raises same-day all-cause mortality by 0.15%. So the mortality rate increases a little bit, right? Respiratory hospitalizations increase by 0.25%, or so they say. And respiratory ER visits increase by over 1/3%, so they say. I mean, you're in this shit, and yet only 1/3% increase in ER visits? Really? I'm thinking it might be higher than that. Or maybe people are just keeling over, or just trying to cope with it without going to the hospital. But there is an increase in hospital visits. There's an increase in respiratory illness. You should already know that. And God knows if you've lived through this long enough, you'll maybe develop lung cancer. That's a thing. A 2024 study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, that's a mouthful for a journal, put smoke, the effects of smoke from fires, annual death toll in the U.S. at more than 10,000 lives. That's a small town. Every year, a small town of people, roughly 10,000, are gone every single year from the effects of so-called wildfire smoke. Wildfire smoke kills 10,000 a year. Called orchestrated fire smoke, 10,000 a year die. A small town of people die every year from the effects of shit that they're doing. Can't tell me, how do you start a wildfire? How is that organic? Someone drops a cigarette, they say, in somewhere in the fucking wilderness, and the leaves. I can't start a fire to save my life. A fire pit right out there. I struggle to keep a fire going. But yet, someone drops the old saying goes, someone wants to drop the cigarette in the fucking forest and it started a wildfire. Get the fuck out of here, man. I don't want to hear that crap. This is what Off-Grid is saying. They're saying practical steps to protect your household and your homestead. You got to know your air quality. And it's not just what the chemtrailed sky looks like. Know your air quality inside your house. They're saying pull up airnow.gov. .gov. Seriously, .gov is going to tell us the truth? They're saying pull up airnow.gov and check your local parts per million 2.5 readings. PM 2.5 readings. Okay? Before you go outside to do any kind of chores. That's what they're saying. Before you go outside, they're saying, get on the computer or your cell phone, look up airnow.gov and check your local parts per million. Air contamination. Chemtrails included or not included, I don't know. They're also saying, number 2, wear a respirator outdoors. A real one. A cloth mask or surgical mask does nothing. Does nothing. They're saying wear a properly fitted N95. I was going to say P95. N95 or KN95 or FFP2 respirator filtered mask, which roughly 95, it keeps 95% of the shit out. But yet you're breathing in whatever the respirator is made of plastic and all that. But that's a side note. They're saying, again, N95, KN95, and or FFP2 respirator filters, whichever one. If you want to buy 2 or 3 of those, all of those, and switch them out, whatever. That's what they're saying to wear outdoors. If you live in these areas, this is insane. Lock down your indoor air. Close every window and door and run a portable HEPA air filter. Yeah. A HEPA filtration is the only kind proven to pull all the fine particles out that might be in your house. If this smoke creeps into your house, have one of these HEPA air filters or air cleaners, and it'll pull a lot of this shit out of it. It'll filter a lot of shit out, so your home will have better air, cleaner air. Keep heavy outdoor work on hold. In other words, don't go out there and do strenuous work, because that's obviously going to go work against you. You can't go out there and be fucking pushing a mower or going for a run or doing push-ups or anything strenuous. Can't do it. It's funny. It sounds like they want us confined to our homes as they burn us out of our homes, as they burn our food and farms and all that. And then they want to put up a smart city. Feed your body's natural defenses. Wildfire smoke does much damage. Oxidative stress, which can cause cancer. And it sets off a slow-burning inflammatory fire deep inside your body. As they create the fire outside, the effects or byproduct of the smoke that they've created, it's their creation, yeah. What it does inside your body is it creates a fire of inflammation, or an inflammatory fire deep inside your body. And a diet loaded with antioxidants helps your system push back against this. Colorful fruits and vegetables, foods rich in vitamin C and E, omega-3 fatty acids from eggs, flax seeds, and fatty fish give your body a real boost or the tools to fight the inflammation. Watch for symptoms that show up late. Don't wait too long to call your big pharma witch doctor if you start developing an itchy throat, scratchy, or coughing, or mucus, or anything like that. You might want to make a big pharma doctor visit. Take extra care near old burned scars or mining country. I don't know, ash and settled dust. All right, whatever. So this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing, and it's done on purpose just like everything else they do. This is not an accident. It's not, oopsie daisy, my bad. Did they even say how this even started? Because I didn't catch that if they did. I didn't catch that. But what I did catch is the bullshit, fake news trying to explain it away. Oh, yeah, people, it doesn't smell like actual wood and, normal wildfire smoke. The reason why is because the longer the smoke travels, the sun, which I call the sun simulator, the sun, the heat from the sun has a chemical, it does something to the smoke where it starts smelling like chemicals. And yeah, it's because that's what they have in it. They probably add shit to this damn shit, traveling hundreds or 1,000 miles, right? They probably adding shit to it. They're going like this. Can't wait, can't wait. What's the death toll going to be now, huh? That's what the NWO is saying. I can't wait to see the effects of this experiment. That's probably what they're saying as they click their damn champagne glasses in their ivory towers, looking down at us like they did in 2020 at all the mass clothes going along with the arrows on the floor, muzzling up and volunteering to lock down before they even called for a lockdown. You know the drill. This is them. This ain't an accident. Just like all the other shit that they do, and all the other stunts, including blowing up or 100 miles off the coast of Florida, conducting some Navy explosion shit, and it made a 3.9 earthquake in Florida that actually collapsed a big building. Yeah, that's no oopsie daisy either. Everything they do is done on purpose, and they keep experimenting. They keep doing things to see how much they can get away with and what we're going to say, and they're watching what we say, and then they adjust the goalposts, but they want to keep moving this agenda forward because they know what is it really. They're basically saying, what are you going to do about it? And people are saying, we're not going to do nothing about it. We're going to scroll on our cell phones. We're going to maybe make a post somewhere on social media, maybe a meme that about it on the next shiny object. That's what they're banking on because they know most of the world's docile and dumb. That's what I got for you. Don't be a troll out there. I'll see you next time with Shock Treatment.